As a little boy, I loved the library. Whilst I eventually started reading books, our library was a cool one, with comics like Tintin and Lucky Luke, but also car magazines. The Swedish magazine Teknikens Värld was the best one. This mag was the car magazine to read at the time. They rose to international fame when they did the famous Moose test, so called since it exposed the A-class balance issues for sudden evasions. You could argue that they saved a lot of human and animal lives by being a thorn in the side of Mercedes, who by the way initially dismissed the test and coined the phrase Moose test. I'll link up more in the description since it is an influential event in car history. So perhaps the many watch ads in car magazines did push me towards the interest in watches. Or maybe my decades of driving manual cars made me more interested in mechanical devices. Regardless, there are many large watch brands that release car-themed watches, but there's one brand and model that's an absolute standout: the Nomos Autobahn. If you're not familiar with the Autobahn, it's the highway system in Germany. It's famous for having certain stretches with a so-called advisory speed limit. If you bought a new car in Sweden, at some point it was a must-do to do the halfway drive down to Germany to really push the limits of your car's top speed. If you did, you had to ensure that you didn't get in the way of some of the finest sports cars in the world. The only cops you'd see here would be the ones telling you to get out of the fast lane. My brown Alfa Romeo was never going to be a threat to any Porsches, but I certainly enjoyed driving it fast down the Autobahn. Nomos is an interesting brand. They are based in the famous Glashütte region of Germany and are something of a trendsetter in the region. They make modern, sleek and beautiful watches that are both relatively affordable and have a classic, sleek design. If you're anything like me and research things forever online before you buy, then it's often shocking how rubbish watch brands' websites are. But Nomos is an exception. It's easily my favorite website of any watch brand. It's not like it's groundbreaking, but it's simply up to date with the modern sites you expect to see today from a contemporary car or tech brand. The fact that the prices you see include delivery and all taxes also makes it an exemplary shopping experience. The Autobahn was the first watch I saw from the brand, funnily enough in an Australian car magazine ad, and I just couldn't stop thinking about it. To release something with such a controversial design really was a brave move. A recent release of several limited editions, so-called director's cut, with unique bracelets and color schemes, once again had me pining for the Autobahn, and I reached out to ask for a loan of a model. There are very few reviews on YouTube of this one, and I can understand why. Even the few that are here have a number of comments underneath with a range of emotions. It's quite simply a polarizing watch, and in this day and age where it's all about likes and subscribes, reviewing controversial watches is perhaps unwise. Note to self. Perhaps it's the use of lume, which one could say is primarily here for decoration, but if you are a car nut, you'll immediately recognize the speedometer at night inspiration. And my god, how cool does this thing look in the dark? The fact that it's only the hour hand that's loomed is actually no different to some of the one-hand designs out there, and it's actually quite easy to make out the time in the dark. Another controversial decision is the size of the hands. The minute hand is thin and red-tipped. Again, clearly designed to look like a needle on a gauge, and is completely different to the hour hand. I have not one struggle with legibility here, mainly due to the red tip. That said, it does look unusual, and I think you do have to be a fan of classic car interiors through the ages. The small seconds hand is all red and recessed in a curved bowl just above the 6th position. The red stands out and I like it. I will say one thing, that window looks to me as more suited for a power reserve, which would suit the overall inspiration here so well. A large seconds hand and a power gauge at this position instead is something I'd love to see. One thing I know for sure, renowned award-winning designers often look to random guys on YouTube for design advice, so you're welcome, Mr. Eislinger. Reading a little about Werner Eislinger that designed the watch, him and his partner have won numerous awards for their furniture, interior and media installations. In my opinion, some of the best collaborations in human history stem from cross-pollination of industries. And when you take a talented designer and ask him to design a watch based on his self-professed love of speed, you get something truly unique. The many enhanced curves that transition seamlessly, the date wheel that shows yesterday, today and tomorrow's date, and even just a small detail such as the small transition to the crown that resembles a car exhaust, all work together perfectly for me to symbolize speed in this modern, fun design. Okay, so I've gushed enough about the look of it. What's underneath the hood here? This is another impressive feat for a reasonably new brand. Nomos make their own movements. One of the visual characteristics of their movements is the balance bridge that is fixed by screws on both sides. This is a highly decorated movement we're looking at, which is adjusted to 6 positions and offers 42 hours power reserve. I don't know about you, but when I view this decorated movement with as many details, I feel like if this was fixed to some other European brand's piece, we'd be preparing to pay 3 times as much as what the cost of this actually is. On my 19cm wrist, it wears reasonably well. I'm not sure how well it would sit on a smaller wrist, so I'd recommend trying one on, if you can, before buying. We're looking at a diameter of 41mm and a height of 10.5mm. Lug to lug is around 49.8 and the lug width is 20mm. It's an all-polished case with plenty of smooth transitions, but it's mainly designed to enhance that beautiful dial. The high polish is a fingerprint magnet. I do wonder if a brushed version was considered, since I feel it would look great. The crown is signed, and despite the 100m water resistance, is not of the screw-in type. There are a few strap options available, even a couple of cool bracelets that I would have loved to see. The nylon strap I have here is well made and, to me at least, continues the car theme with a look that resembles a seatbelt. I considered changing up the look to a leather strap, but this nylon strap is very tight and I'd rather not scratch up any lugs on the loaner. But if you buy one, know that it is possible to swap straps. The underside of this strap is slightly curved and also smoother, so it's far more comfortable than it may look. The so-called wing clasp self-secures the strap, and the one floating keeper holds the strap down. It's a classy strap, but I'll probably go for one of the bracelet options myself. My only small concern is that you do have to really grip that strap hard when putting the watch on in the morning, since it's thin and a bit flimsy. It would be tragic to have it slip through your fingers and crash into opposing traffic. So at this point, I assume you've already made your mind up. It is a love or hate piece, and that is as it should be for a unique piece. There are literally thousands of watch designs that are more or less the same, and you could even pick up a more traditional model from Nomos themselves. The Orion, for example, is lovely, and don't even get me started on the Zurich. That piece I am absolutely in love with. The best watches are the ones that you create memories with, or the ones that bring out old memories from your own history, like in my case, borrowing car magazines from the library and moose tests. If you're not convinced by this piece, then let us at least agree on one thing. It is so good to see genuinely interesting designs that try something completely new, and I think we should congratulate Nomos on their courage. I hope you enjoyed this review, and if you did, I'd love a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.